Murder mysteries. Solving a mystery is always a lot of fun, but solving a murder mystery, well, that just has that little extra zing, that extra spice to it. Hello, Internet, it's Richiru, and the past month I put together a murder mystery experience. I managed to rope together a group of friends willing to participate in this murder mystery dining experience. A quick little disclaimer before we get into it, there is going to be a little bit of footage. It's not going to be the best from the murder mystery night. It wasn't honestly on my priority list at the time, so I didn't think about, the proper camera angles and stuff. And we've been talking too much, so let's dive into it. So the entire murder basically revolved around my old American Girl doll, Molly. This is, in fact, the doll that I got when I was a child, and because I have a long history with this doll, I decided that her murder needed to be the central focus of the night. The entire night encompasses Molly earning a coveted award for Best Favorite Childhood Toy. Ironically enough, she is not the only one in the house that could potentially hold that title, which is sort of where the whole stemming of the murder may or may not take place. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming on this special celebration tonight. We are celebrating Molly, who has won the Favorite Childhood Toy Award. While guests were coming in, there was also a butler character, R20. This is R20, the droid that I got during one of my trips to Disney's Hollywood Studios at Galaxy's Edge, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, during the night, R20 is going around trying to do his thing, and he keeps interrupting me, and I keep getting irritated, and I'm trying to push him away because he really should not have anything to do with this event. Well, at this point, that is when Molly ends up dead. Unfortunately, she was going to come tonight to collect the award, but she's been murdered. I find her hanging in the doorway of the guest room, which is how we determined that she is gone. Apparently that was a little morbid for some of our guests. In the guest room upstairs. Oh my god. So,
Jesus following.
Should I faint?
She was murdered.
At this point of the night, all of the guests are split into two different teams in order to investigate certain evidence rooms. Before both teams go off, each team received a suspect booklet, which inside held a list of suspects that I personally thought might be the most probable for killing Molly.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Are there dolls places?
Yes.
Okay, I just need to be mentally prepared for that. As long as I know it should be fine.
Note, I said I think these were the most probable. That does not mean that the choices were only here. Each suspect booklet had a picture of the suspect, their name, their age, their potential motive for why they might have offed Molly. Once again, my thoughts on what they might have done. And then when they were last seen before the announcement that I found Molly gone. Suspect number one was this Raggedy Ann doll. I mean, it should be clear why this is a suspect. She speaks for herself. Also, her color here. Beautiful red yarn. Suspect number two is my other American Girl doll, Nellie O'Malley. Yes, I'm aware that this doll has no correlation with Molly and she's wearing Molly's Christmas dress. Don't come at me, American Girl people. This was done very specifically for the murder, and I am well aware that this dress does not necessarily go with this doll. But in the context of this particular story, Nellie has been best friends with Molly ever since I got her. Next up is Beethoven here, mainly because I've had this stuffed animal since I was a baby. So once again, favorite childhood toy title could have potentially gone to him. What about me? That's right, Lucy was also on the list of suspects. Hello, yes! Lashing Eye Lucy, the prime suspect! Mainly for the fact that anytime I leave this house, I have to shout no parties, no murders, or else she's gonna do something. But that night there was a party and a murder. And that left the final suspect being King because he's a demon. No other reason. It was more that I needed to flesh out the suspect list, and I just wanted an excuse to use him, honestly, so.
Did you tell your mother why you needed the pictures?
Yes, of course I did. They knew I was planning this because they helped run through the evidence to make sure it made sense.
Okay.
At this point, our two teams, which I'm just going to dub Team A and Team E, that doesn't have to do with whether one team went first over the other. It more just has to do with the departments at their different jobs that they work for. So anyway, they got to choose between one of two areas to investigate. Since they were separated into two different teams, Team A was not allowed to investigate Team E's room, and likewise Team E was not allowed to investigate Team A's room. And out of their choices, there was the morgue, where Molly was taken after I discovered her.
Okay, we're entering the morgue, where we can see Molly.
On some writing, is that?
Ah!
And the guest room, which is basically where I do most of my filming. So it's a nice open space and also plenty of living quarters for all of these suspects.
Flashing eye Lucy. Oh boy.
Look shady, probably innocent.
After both teams got their allotted time investigating these two locations, each team then got a turn to investigate a third location, the shared office, which is where we are right now. There were definitely different techniques happening. Team E seemed to be very methodical, they were careful, they were nitpicking over every single detail.
Okay, so we're noticing that the noose here is made of red yarn.
And
Suspect number 1 is made with red yarn.
And Team A, they just basically turned the room inside out.
Redo it.
Maybe.
On the wall.
If there's one thing that I've learned is that they treated the evidence rooms like one would treat an escape room. So when Team E went down to the morgue, they immediately ran over a piece of evidence, apparently. There were these track markings on the floor.
Also, this washcloth is wet. We don't know what that might mean. And we did find some mysterious writing, but we've erased it. So
we took pictures.
So in the morgue, Team E was able to discover Molly here in this dress. I'm aware this is not an official American Girl doll dress, and the reason why she was not wearing an official American Girl doll dress has to do with this piece of evidence right here, which is the dress has been ripped. On top of that, they also found a piece of red yarn around Molly's neck, which shows where she got hung. And there was also a little piece of paper hiding inside of Molly's sleeve.
For the amount of love and respect, circled, that have you given me over the years, Extra thanks to my best friend, Nellie. We've done so much together, and even though you didn't win, I hope you can share this amazing reward. Nellie will be my bestest friend for all time.
And in that speech, they noticed that there was a certain word circled in red ink, and that word was respect. Also in that room, there was a wet washcloth, and if you sniffed it, it smelled horrible because it was filled with rubbing alcohol. Let's check in on Team A and see how they were doing.
You don't want anyone to hear from her.
But if he's trying to clone, then maybe he needed her dead to redo it.
So Team A got to explore everyone's living quarters, and a knife was found in Lucy's living quarters, specifically on top of a bunch of old video games for the 3DS. Team A thought there was some sort of secret hidden within the 3DS console. No. I wish I had thought of that, though. That would have been good. They also found a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise because it's Lucy, and that's all Lucy's cared about for months now. When they explored Beethoven's part of the room, they discovered lots of pictures of childhood photographs of me. I think I still have one. Yeah, here's one. This is the Christmas one I got Molly. So cute, so adorable. But other than a bunch of cute pictures, there wasn't really much to find in Beethoven's part. In Nellie's side of the room, there was an American Girl doll bed out and some crutches. In the photographs, they noticed that at some point Nellie had gotten into an accident and was wearing a leg cast. She still had crutches on the side of her bed, but she wasn't wearing the cast anymore. In the photographs, there was also a bunch of the older photographs of her and Molly. Out of those photographs, one of the photos was curled. And if they happened to flip that picture over, then they found the word deserve written in red ink. If they went over to Raggedy Ann's side, all they really found was there was a hairbrush with a bunch of red yarn in it. This is probably also a good time for me to mention that there was a string of red yarn dangling from the doorway where I found Molly hung. When it came to King, I literally there were books open from both Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Book of Spells, and from Gravity Falls, some stuff about cloning and making friends and all of that. Also, I have 2 King plushies, so there were 2 King plushies there.
He is a demon, as in a literal demon. He was last seen hoarding a bunch of snacks under the stairs. And they tried and chased him out.
In the morgue?
In the morgue.
Okay.
However, there was another section of that room with a bag in it, a bag that belongs to R20. And when they looked in it, they found a bottle of rubbing alcohol. Both teams were allowed to take a turn to investigate the office space. When it came to the office space, there was only a few things really to discover. One, there was a note hanging from the desk, once again written in red pen with A, E, blank, O, U, and Y with a question mark written on it. As you notice, the missing piece is probably important there. They also found sort of like a robot rocket looking piece hidden in one of the desk drawers. But most of the evidence was placed on the laptop itself. There were 3 things open on the laptop for them to investigate. There was Google Chrome open with 2 different web pages. The first web page had a list of all of American Girl dolls and their friends. See, I told you, American Girl doll people, that this was going to come back. So when they looked at that page, they noted, according to the official American Girl doll website, Nellie is not Molly's friend, she's Samantha's. There was also a second tab open, which showed our latest movie review about Five Nights at Freddy's that Lucy was in. There was a third thing that I had mentioned, and that was there was music playing during this. iTunes was clearly on and just closed out of its window. So if they knew to open iTunes out of its window, which I'm not sure if any team figured that out, they would have realized that the song was called Poison. And that brings us full circle. At this point, the teams were allowed to come together. They had a few minutes to share evidence information if they so choose.
Because her hair was used as the hanging rope, and that just seems way too obvious.
And there
was like a brush of tangled.
Are we sharing everything?
Yeah, sure, rad. There were crutches up there next to her.
You can put the best friend on the back of it. It said deserve. From the 2
Oh, we had
girls.
Respect.
Respect.
Oh no, this could say Merry Christmas. I don't know.
And let me tell you, those confessions were eye-opening in terms of things that were just left omitted because I didn't consider making anything for it, and it was just taken and ran with off another plane of existence.
Based on the evidence that I've seen, I believe that the real murderer is actually Nellie.
It's her.
Okay.
But I feel like somebody is trying to frame her. Because why would you be that obvious and use your own hair?
The hanging rope that was red, which matched the hair that was with Raggedy Ann. So we were like, could be Raggedy Ann right off the bat.
She's been your friend the longest. Some would say she arguably deserves the award more. The older pictures, she can be found while the others are not present. But, you know, her hair was the murder weapon. It's a little too obvious. I think someone stole it off her brush.
So I have absolutely no idea what happened. I found out today. I would make a terrible detective, but I'll give you a fun story that could have happened, but probably didn't.
Chloroforming her supposed best friend Molly, then staging the murder, using things that would frame the other toys, like using hair from Raggedy Ann as the noose, planting evidence that some of the other dolls were fighting with her.
Droid pieces in the back. We found one in there. We found one up here.
Okay.
Then we also found a knife.
I think it was her hair that poor Molly was hung with, and her brush with the hair in it, and like it looked like it had been like cut. So I'm wondering if the knife that was found under Lucy's like area that was used to cut it, or if she literally just brushed it out. You know, you never know.
Now, Nellie's a fake best friend. Faking an injury, all around fake. Don't really like her. The only evidence was the deserve on the back of the picture and the I deserve respect throughout the whole thing. But again, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on her.
Obviously, it was not Beethoven. Beethoven's a good boy.
Why do you think that?
Because he's a dog.
Okay.
Beethoven the dog is the goodest of boys.
Yeah.
And he's done nothing wrong other than he sleeps too much. So he might have missed the award ceremony, but he's a good boy.
He seems like a little good boy, and I picked him up, and he was so nostalgic and sweet, and I just can't have him being the murderer.
Beethoven, physically, I don't think a dog is capable of hanging a person. I also think he might be an alcoholic.
Maybe she got tired, got a headache from the smell of all that in there. Her friend, I'm terrible with the names. Beethoven was in there taking a nap. Maybe she wanted one too. I'm thinking both of them literally just like slept through the murder.
Yes, but it was all because she thought she deserved respect.
Ooh. How did you come to that conclusion?
From the notes. From the notes and that we talked about. We figured that out as a group.
Okay.
But it was the I, and then deserve, and then from the note downstairs, respect.
Okay, interesting.
She's real sketch.
Ooh, Lucy.
She's real sketch.
Why is she sketch?
I want to say, so at first I didn't want to say her because I'm like, nah, she's too obvious. She already likes murder. Like, why would she be stupid and actually do it? Because that would be the first person.
Yeah.
But she apparently had a knife with her stuff. The dress was like nicely cut. It wasn't cut like, I'm going to rip it.
Yeah.
It was just a nice little slit.
Oh, interesting.
Because of the eye is missing there.
Okay.
And then our picture said deserve, and the other team had respect.
Okay.
So then Carrie put that together.
Okay.
And it was on one of the pictures of the best friend of Nellie. And there's all those pictures of Nellie.
Obviously, had access to a knife, would have just stabbed her, gotten rid of the body. We never would have found Molly. Now the demon. We did find some spells. Maybe he was trying to get an obstacle out of his way so that he could be the favorite toy. He had extra snacks because I think he wanted to get rid of Molly to be favorite toy, but then clone her.
This guy, he's just a loner.
Yeah.
He's not really a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, he likes to live downstairs, but there's nothing wrong with that.
There was the rubbing alcohol, and the other team was talking about alcohol. I'm not sure where they got that from though. In her speech, she was talking about Nellie. Molly was talking about Nellie.
Yeah.
But on the laptop, Nellie is Samantha's best friend.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with it. It was a double team. She wanted it done, so she helped her do it.
I feel like Lucy is such a red herring. I feel like if she didn't, even if she had the knife, like in here it says that she loves murder, she loves pirating. she would just come forward and be like, I'm the best pirate ever. She was just mad for not getting to watch her movie, which, fair, great movie.
What was her movie?
I thought her movie was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, okay.
From all of her stuff.
Potential murderer is going to be King Clawthorne. He just seems to have had a lot of access to things.
I don't think there's like a reason for him to clone Molly. I think if he's trying to clone anyone, he's trying to clone R20. Is that his name?
Yeah, the droid?
Yeah, with all of the different little pieces that he's like trying to collect and stuff. Maybe he's trying to do like robot army kind of thing.
I think R20,
The droid.
the droid. I think he's investigating this silently. I think he was secretly in love with Molly and is really upset. And he does have access to everyone's drinks. So I think he's going to find out who the murderer is and then kill them.
Because of the droid pieces. I don't know, maybe he was just in the way. Maybe he was trying to protect, and that's why pieces of him came off. But I think it was Samantha. I know she's not in my list of suspects, but I think it was Samantha.
Because she's not actually the best friend.
She isn't?
No. I think there was another best friend, but I don't remember the name.
Okay.
So I think that it was Samantha who was mad at Molly because Molly and Nellie were actually best friends rather than the world making Samantha and Nellie best friends.
She was healing from an injury, but apparently, I did not get to see this evidence, but apparently she was only half faking, like she was faking it. It was only half a problem.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
This is your girl. This is
Okay.
Nellie. I think Nellie did it. I think she's jealous. She was good friends with Molly. She mentioned her in her speech. They were besties. She said that she was last seen in bed, feeling her leg, but she wasn't wearing her cast. We don't know when the pictures were taken necessarily, when she had the cast on.
Yeah.
So like this could be a fake injury.
She helped her do it.
Okay.
I don't know if you can even see.
But at this point, I feel like I've tortured them enough. It's time for the final reveal of where everything falls into place. I have heard everyone's truths. I'm going to go through the suspect list first and explain the details, and then we'll get down to what happened. And, she did seem like the most obvious suspect just because she is the oldest toy and she's very creepy looking. However, some of you noted that there is a hairbrush in her living space with a lot of her red yarn that she brushes out. So the murderer took her red yarn and used that as the main murder weapon to put suspicion on her. When it came to Nellie, Nellie was in fact healing from a broken leg. As you noted from the picture, she just got the cast off today.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why the crutches are still by her bedside, so she still kind of needs them sometimes, but the doctor she got her crutches off today. But if you notice in the office that there was a website open that showed that according to the American Girl fandom website, that Nellie is supposed to be the friend of another doll called Samantha.
Samantha was my doll.
She's been kind of dealing with that internally right now. I've been trying to get some therapy for her, but that's about as far as things go in terms of Nellie. But as you can see from lots of the photos, she's been good friends with Molly for so many years. So many wonderful pictures of them together. You might have noticed that Nellie and Molly were wearing some outfits. At least Molly for sure was wearing an outfit that she's wearing when I discovered her. So that shows that they were still getting pictures today to celebrate Molly's winning. When it comes to Beethoven I've had since I was a baby. So he is very old. He's a little bit raggedy. He does not do well with late nights. So he does sleep an awful lot. And that's about all there is to it with Beethoven. He has lots of pictures of me as a child because he just likes the memories. But other than that, I mean, he's just old. Now, Lucy, of course, she seems very obvious because she's a pirate. She loves the chaos. She loves the murders. I leave the house every day and I say no parties, no murders. You can vouch for me, Toffee. Even though Lucy might be a very obvious choice there, she always has a knife on her. She was upset with me because I wouldn't let her play Five Nights at Freddy's tonight for the party because I told her no one wants to see Josh Hutcherson or Matthew Lillard, but she didn't care because she's in love with the pirate fox.
Who doesn't want to see that?
Anyway, so she was just busy pouting with like all of the things that she had hoarded from me. However, if you checked the office, you might have noticed there was a video that Lucy was in about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That was dated 3 months ago, which is pretty recent. So Lucy cannot say that I have not put her in anything recent. No, you have no say in this, R20. Shut up. Honestly, I'm not even sure why King is in here, but you might have noticed he's been attempting to do some cloning work, which is why there's an exact copy of himself in the guest room. So he's been trying to clone himself. So when it comes down to the actual mystery, you guys did piece together that there was a hidden message in all 3 of the locations. If you went to the office, there were the vowels listed AE blank OU and Y with a question mark to go sometimes Y. I filled in that empty space for the first part of the sentence. For those of you that visited the guest room, you noticed that someone had written in red pen the word deserve on the back of one of Nellie's photos.
Because you bullied
And
him a lot.
it's too late to change your verdicts now. Notice that there was a letter that Molly had written for her speech that she would have shared once she got the award tonight. And a lot of it was thanking me and Nellie, but there was a word circled in red pen saying respect, which pieced together the message, I deserve respect. For the fact that Raggedy Ann's hair was used, and the fact that a lot of this murder was actually pinned on Nellie, since she was going through that existential crisis of if she's even supposed to be Molly's best friend. They used Raggedy Ann's hair because, again, Raggedy Ann is creepy, who wouldn't immediately suspect her. Now, going into the details of the morgue specifically, in the morgue, there were 3 or 4 different items. On Molly, there was the red yarn to show where she had been found hanging, as I described at the beginning of tonight. There was her secret note for her speech that was hidden inside of her sleeve, so she was able to pull it out when she had the time to share the speech. There was also a cloth on one of the tables nearby that smelled of rubbing alcohol, which is most likely why she didn't realize what was happening to her. She got knocked out with the rubbing alcohol. And actually, if you double check online with Google, if you consume rubbing alcohol, if you consume enough, it will kill you. There were also tracks found in the morgue as well that were kind of walked over by the team there, but there were tracks. Now, in the guest room, yes, Lucy did have it. Oh, I forgot to mention in the morgue that Molly's dress was ripped. Now, in the guest room, Lucy had a knife. That was the knife that ripped the dress, but Lucy was not the one that did it. Once again, whoever did this was trying to put the blame on literally anybody else, except for Beethoven, because Beethoven's a good boy. It was impossible to try and pin anything on him. But they tried pinning it on Lucy by ripping the dress with the knife that she had taken. They tried pinning it on Nellie by writing the word deserve on the back of one of Nellie's pictures. They didn't really try pinning it on King, which I don't blame them because King's kind of weird. However, if you checked the living quarters of R20, you probably discovered that on top of like his extra chips and his power rockets that he had a bottle of rubbing alcohol in his sleeping space. Going into the office, you all noticed the website page that had Nellie listed as Samantha's best friend instead of Molly. You had noticed the website page with the video of Lucy, which was dated 3 months ago. There was also a song playing on loop in the background on the iTunes website. If you checked that song, the title of that song is Poison. So what happened is that R20 here, I don't always treat him to best. So he deserves respect. He wrote the message. He tried pinning it on everybody else, and he left hidden clues that he had poisoned Molly before
He doesn't even have
hanging her.
hands.
That's the other. Oh, sorry, I knocked over your drinks, R20. Not that it matters because you're a murderer. Now, as you might have noticed, there was also a stash of one of his rockets hidden in the office drawer as well. So that was also evidence. He left his tracks behind in the morgue. He left pieces of him in the office, and he made it very obvious that he used the rubbing alcohol because he left it in the guest room. He kept the song Poison on loop in the office, and also the cloth that he used to suffocate Molly still stunk of rubbing alcohol. So that is what happened.
I said that.
Did anyone say it was him?
And that was it. R20 was declared the murderer, the mischievous, horrible murderer. And he would have gotten away with it too because literally nobody guessed that it was him. This was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun putting this together for my friends. It was really fun watching them put everything together. And I definitely learned a few things from this, which is do not underestimate the giant leaps and bounds people will make when it comes to investigating mysteries. Anyway, that's it for now. Just wanted to share all of that with you guys because I had a fun time doing it and I had all that wonderful footage. So thanks for watching. Who knows when we'll make another video. We just kind of do it when we want to at this point. And we'll see all you lovelies in the future. Drink plenty of water. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Mwah. Oh, you're so dirty right there.